Say yes to your life. And when it comes to drugs and alcohol, just say no.
Don't stress, live life one day at a time. Don't drink or drug and you'll be fine.
Welcome back to Staying Sober with Papa Joey. Today I want to talk about Nancy Reagan. Now, it's not going to be a political show, of course. I'm going to talk about when Nancy started way back in the early 80s, and that was the Just Say No campaign. And what happened was Nancy was going around to different schools, elementary schools, I believe, and high schools, and talking with the kids about staying away from drugs and alcohol. Back then, there was a big crack cocaine epidemic happening. And she thought, because she was the first lady, that that's what she wanted to put her time into, is educating the youth about staying away from drugs and alcohol. During one of her Q&A sessions at an elementary school, a girl asked the question, what should I do if somebody offers me drugs? And Nancy just said, just say no. And that started the whole campaign right there. Now, of course, there were people that thought that was brilliant, very simple, right to the point. I'd like it, by the way. And then there were others that were saying, oh, come on, that's ridiculous. Just saying no. Well, I believe she was on to something back then, because what do I always say? You don't drink or use no matter what, and no matter what means no matter what. Somebody offers you a drink or a drug, you say, no, thank you. And that's it, right? So Nancy was doing the same thing, just telling the kids, just say no, stay away from drugs and alcohol. She was trying to teach these young kids, and I agree with it, about personal responsibility. Now, back in 1982, I was 22 years old. I was already abusing alcohol for 8, 9 years already at that time. Like I said, I started very young. But when I turned 18 and I was legal to drink, I was out all the time drinking. So I was fully into my alcohol abuse by then. So the just say no didn't make any difference to me because I just wanted more. There wasn't just say no. I said yes all the time. You want to drink? Yes. You want to drink? Yes. Can I get you something? Yes. So it took me a while to where I finally said, no, I'm done drinking. I wish, like everybody else, when we screw up in our lives and we go back and we think about the times that we screwed up, that if I only would have known better, I wouldn't have done that, right? But we make the mistakes, and that's what helps us grow. And nowadays, we really got to be careful, especially in the drug scene, man, with this fentanyl. I mean, it's getting crazy, but I look at the fentanyl epidemic totally different than a lot of these politicians, because nowadays the politicians want to blame everybody. We got another war on drugs. It's all about, the drugs coming in over the border and who's to blame for that. Yeah, I get that. But I still go back to it's personal responsibility. The drugs can flow in. It doesn't mean you got to take them. I mean, so many people, we want to blame everything on the outside because what we're doing to ourselves. When I was out there drinking, nobody was forcing me to drink. I drank because I wanted to. End of story. And the more I drank, the more I liked it. Of course, until I got into trouble and then I hated it. But time and time and time again, I went right back to it. Okay. With drugs, man, the thing that's scary, of course, are all these deaths because of drug overdoses. And I'm talking from experience. I've shared this before on a couple of my podcasts. I lost my daughter at the age of 34 to a drug overdose. Now, my daughter was always proud of my sobriety. She would always say how proud she was. There were times when we talked during her 10 years of her drug abuse, and she knew what to do, but she just didn't do it. And unfortunately, the drugs took her life. And it's happened to so many other people, that have died because of a drug overdose. But it comes down to, once again, accepting personal responsibility. And like I say always on this channel, when it's your time to get sober and stay sober, only you can make the choice for yourself. Sure, there's going to be people trying to get you to go get help and everything, get you to stop drinking or stop drugging, and that's great. They all care for you. But ultimately, it's the person. The person has to decide, yeah, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I want to be able to say no when somebody offers me a drink or a drug. Well, I can tell you, you can do it, because if I can do it and millions of other people can do it, you can do it. It's a decision that you have to make. So back then, Nancy was definitely on to something. And who knows, it may have affected a lot of young kids or stopped a lot of young kids from drinking and drugging. And I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. Because there are times when people, especially at a young age, they hear something and they go, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. For me, that's how I was about drugs. I've shared this before, but when I was 12 years old, they found out that I had a heart condition. So I couldn't play sports anymore. I couldn't run around. I mean, it was a whole, I don't want to get into that right now, but there was issues with my heart. Eventually I had heart surgery. However, I was always afraid when I heard people that back then were taking speed, maybe doing a little cocaine, it would ramp up the heart. I was petrified of that. So I stayed away from those drugs because I was afraid, I'd take some speed or do some coke, that my heart would start to go crazy, and then that would be it. So I was fearful of this stuff. I never did it for that reason. And sometimes that's all it takes, is for somebody to go, oh, yeah, I heard what happened to that person. I don't want to be that person. Or you see somebody in your family that abuses alcohol or drugs, and you say, I'm not going to be that person. Unfortunately, there's too many people that, for whatever reason, just like myself, I chose to drink. And I did it until I finally stopped, going on close to 33 years in this coming August. All in all, I'm going to finish this up with Nancy. I think she was onto something. There's nothing wrong with telling somebody, no, thank you. They offer you a drink. Or hopefully, if you're around people that are offering you drugs, no, thank you, and get the hell away from those people. Now, that's my opinion. You do exactly what you want to do. But anyways, I like it. Just say no, or better yet, don't drink or use no matter what. And no matter what means no matter what. Until the next time, this is Papa Joey saying, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Think about your serenity. Be grateful for your sobriety.